The thought of life after sports for student athletes isn't always easy, depending on who you ask. There is no exception at the University of Florida, a Southeastern Conference school with a top Division I athletic program. But like at any other school, student athletes prepare for the jump to professional sports or are forced to accept a life away from the competitions they've sweated for years. With that comes differentiating levels of professional development for every student athlete in a growing and evolving amateur sports industry suffering from a general lack of integration, informed decision-making, and development. Transition research by the Laboratory for Athlete and Athletics Development and Research at UF is addressing these issues by providing the knowledge required to effectively develop amateur sports and athletes. Emily Plunkett, a second-year PhD student studying sport management and a research assistant, said the focus of research is currently on the identity phase.
Looking at this concept called liminality, which basically means that you're in between identities. So when college athletes or professional athletes transition from their athletic careers to their next career after sports, whether that's right after college or after a long professional career, they usually go through this kind of identity crisis because their athletic identity is so high.
The research assistant linked the identity crisis with how student athletes primarily identify themselves and determine their self-worth.
When that goes away, they kind of have to search for how to re-identify who they are, what's important to them, what their goals are in life, things like that.
Although her 6'7" frame is a plus for her playing career, redshirt sophomore volleyball player Holly Carlton said it's important to remain focused on her studies and improving outside skills.
I know that I would love to keep playing as long as my body allows, but that's kind of a clock that none of us know how long that's going to be, so it's also important to think about just developing your career goals. And so here I'm studying sport management with a minor in Spanish, and it's just been cool to be able to learn a lot of different skills about how I can still be involved in the sports world when I'm not playing.
Despite student athletes balancing school and other responsibilities, Plunkett said the mentality fed to athletes doesn't usually transfer over to academics and other aspects of their lives.
The sports culture teaches you to take one day at a time, one practice at a time, one game at a time, not to look ahead. And while that works for athletic success, that usually is not the same approach you want to take to career planning, career exploration, things like that.
However, freshman setter Marley Monserez said the resources available to student athletes at UF help them succeed outside of sports.
The Hawkins Center is just an amazing resource, and when you're struggling in a class, a tutor is just always there to help you and get you through the class when you can't always make it to the one-on-one session with the teacher because of practice or because of travel. So all those resources are just really helpful.
UF is the only SEC school to place 100 or more student athletes on the academic honor roll each of the last 16 years. For WFT News, I'm Omar Hernandez.
They went from worst to first. They were swept.